Chicago Tribune critic Dave Kerr compared this movie to the sort of queasy fever dream that might be produced by sitting through an entire Orson Welles Film Festival while eating pepperoni pizzas. Rita Kempley of the Washington Post called it more like My Beautiful Laundrette in the Closet than it is a bad ripoff of Lethal Weapon. And Letterboxd user Colin the Dude hails it as less a movie than it is a roided out three-ring circus captured on camera by bystanders. A spotlight display of big dicks mounted on a madhouse mantelpiece. It's all for show, and ringing through your head for as long as you're watching is a soft voice repeating itself over and over again. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, this is a movie. On this episode of Ruined Childhoods, we decide the fate of Tango and Cash.
Sequel. Reboot. Which one will it be? It's the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
Greetings, Starfighters.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Jon.
And also, hi, Eric. Our wonderful guest, Eric Gosselin's here. What's up, dude?
Oh, hello, guys. How are you?
If you don't know who Eric is, he was my co-host on the world-famous podcast Hey Teens, as well as some other weird stuff we got ourselves into, and is now co-host of the Kill Streak podcast with Mike Price, which is kind of like a thematic cousin to Ruined Childhoods, because you guys talk about franchises, whereas we just, imagine new ones. So yeah. How's that been going?
It's been super fun. Basically, the premise of the show is Mike Price and I are big horror movie buffs, and then we will pick a franchise and watch every single movie in that franchise and record an episode for each of those movies. And then at the end of it all, we kind of just canonically rank which one of the movies is the best,
cool.
like worst to best. Yeah. And we have some like making of stories along the way, play fun games. It's a real blast. But yeah, it is sort of a spiritual cousin to this podcast.
Yeah, you guys just wrapped up your Alien franchise.
Yeah, those movies rule. And now we started doing Phantasm now.
Oh, right on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I actually just started the Alien series of episodes. I just listened to the Alien episode and was like, as I often do, especially when I listen to movie podcasts, like, throwing in my 2 cents, like I'm part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm doing this as I'm like taking a walk around my neighborhood, and I'm talking. I'm like, oh yeah, no, Alien 3 has. Yes, you're so right about that. And,
yeah, those movies were the most fun we've done, I think, of any series.
Oh, you think so?
It turns out there's a lot of really fucking bad movies. Like in all of horror movies, sequels, there's some real stinkers.
Yeah, I really liked the most recent Alien movies. I liked Alien Covenant. Is that the latest one?
Yeah, that's the latest one.
That was really good.
It's
a lot of fun.
It's kind of like a return to form.
I still haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, Dan, you should totally check it out.
Jussie
I feel like
Smollett's
Prometheus. Jussie Smollett's in it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Cool. Does he stage an attack by a bunch of aliens?
Basically, yeah. There's a weird, spoilers, guys, for Alien Covenant. There's before the end of the movie, like 20 minutes left in the movie, there's a full-on shower scene, like sex scene. It's like, why is this happening? I've never seen that happen that late in a movie before.
Well, we're about to talk about a movie with quite the shower scene.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
But first, I want to talk a little bit about our last episode. We covered the Werner Herzog classic Fitzcarraldo, and I wanted to just clear up one thing that we left kind of dangling on the last one, because we were talking about what Klaus Kinski may have been up to during the Second World War, and it was just It was just a simple Wikipedia skim away, but so I'm just going to read this straight from Wikipedia. But during the Second World War, Kinski was conscripted at the age of 17 into the German Wehrmacht sometime in 1943 and served with the German Air Force as an elite paratrooper. He saw no action until the winter of 44 when his unit was transferred to the Netherlands. He was captured by the British on his second day of combat. Kinski gave a different version of events in his 88 autobiography. Big surprise there. He said that he made a conscious decision to desert, and he had been captured by the Germans, court-martialed as a deserter and sentenced to death, but he escaped and hid in the woods. That is such a Kinski spin on things.
Yeah.
A British patrol opened fire on him. He was wounded in the arm, and they took him captive. After being treated for his injuries and interrogated, Kinski was transferred, allegedly, to a prisoner of war camp in Britain. The ship transporting him was torpedoed by a German U-boat, but arrived safely. He was held at a prisoner of war camp, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, okay, the German POs were anxious to return home. Kinski had heard that sick prisoners were to be returned first and had tried to qualify by standing outside naked at night, drinking urine and eating cigarettes. He remained healthy, however, and was finally returned to Germany in 1946 after spending a year and 4 months in captivity. That is the most Klaus Kinski shit.
Not the last time he did that, by the way. Neither the first nor the last time he did that. That was just the only time it served a purpose.
Thing I've ever heard.
I love the like.
He was like a failed Nazi. What?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the real story is with him? You know.
I love that in his version of it, he was too strong to be sickened by drinking urine and eating cigarettes outside in this winter.
Yeah. So Eric, I know that you're also a like film school nerd.
Yeah.
Was Fitzcarraldo part of your, I guess, early film upbringing?
Fitzcarraldo actually came a little bit later for me. I guess I didn't see that movie until I was in my 20s, when I was going through a Werner Herzog kick. But I think the one that I always came back to, though I've been meaning to rewatch his movies. It's been a while, as my man Aaron Lewis said. A call back to a joke I made off air.
Right before we started, yeah.
It's Strosek is one that I always really loved.
And that was, of course, Kinski was in that one too, right?
I don't think Kinski's not in that one. It's the other guy who was in Casper Hauser. Is that his name? I can't remember
the Dieter.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I love Herzog. It's been a.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun watching that one. Dan had never seen it before. He hadn't seen any Herzog before.
No, that is my first. Yeah,
total blank spot in Dan's movie viewing history.
Bruno S.
That's it. Bruno S. Yeah.
There you go.
And you should check out the documentary A Burden of Dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys talked about that on the episode, but it's really crazy.
We played a bunch of clips from it just because, the way Herzog speaks, I feel like that documentary is the perfect encapsulation of like everything that you think about Herzog, like wrapped into little sound bites, but it's so good.
Did you ever hear the story about how Joaquin Phoenix got into like a rollover accident outside of, I won't spoil it. He got into a rollover accident like on Mulholland Drive, and as he's being pulled out, like still conscious, Herzog was like, "Everything's going to be okay." It was like right in front of Herzog's house, and he pulled Joaquin Phoenix from the wreckage.
See, this is what I love about him.
I feel like I have heard that story. That does ring a bell.
He's kind of like, how there's like all those Bill Murray stories where everyone's just like, and then he just like came and party with us. I feel like Werner Herzog is like the opposite side of that same coin, where it's like he'll show up and like do something completely weird and Werner Herzog-y, and almost like the nobody will believe you type of thing that you hear from Bill Murray stories.
Yeah, and he's a madman, and I think it reflects it in the way he lives, in his experiences.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dan, did you have anything else that you want to talk about with Fitzcarraldo, or anything else?
No, I'm tapped out on Fitzcarraldo.
White suit got real dirty.
Yeah, That's one thing I was thinking about that whole time. It was just like, how is that thing not just so disgusting all the time?
Look, that was not going to be a nice smelling set. Like,
no.
Set?
No. I mean, well, yeah.
Was that the one where they tried to kill each other?
I don't know if it was that one or Aguirre, the Wrath of God.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think on that one I heard a crew member offered to kill Kinski.
Yeah, which is like not the last time that happened. On this movie called Crawl Space, I think they also like the director may have inquired about a hitman to kill Kinski.
Amazing. Just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I have his book here somewhere. I just haven't read it. I just got it at a thrift store.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Tango and Cash.
Oh, howdy, yeah.
So typically what we do is I'll do a little synopsis of the movie for anybody who isn't familiar, but this is less for the two of you guys because, I mean, come on, it's Tango and Cash. But afterwards, feel free to let me know if I missed anything important, all right?
It's all important.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Ray Tango and Gabriel Cash are two of the best cops in LA, and nobody dislikes them more than they dislike each other. That is, of course, with the exception of criminal mastermind Perrette, whose business is constantly interrupted by either Tango on the west side of town or Cash on the east side of town. But rather than killing them and making them martyrs, he plans to frame them and have them sent to prison. Or is that the plot of Batman Returns, which I also watched the other night? I think it's both. But in the case of Tango and Cash, Perrette's plan works, and through his connections in the SoCal criminal underworld, Tango and Cash are sent to general population prison to face the grimy criminals they both had a hand in putting away. But because he can't help himself, Perrette and his goons have Tango and Cash taken out of their cells late at night to be tortured and killed. After that is broken up by security, Tango and Cash cook up a plan with one of Cash's pals on the inside. They face off against a group of inmates led by a large-jawed hothead known as Face. After they break out, they separate and plan to collect information before regrouping. Tango tells Cash that a girl who works at the Cleopatra Club named Catherine would know where to find him. Cash manages to get the unedited footage from the night they were framed from the audio specialist who testified against them in court. Meanwhile, Tango finds the cop who busted them at the scene of the crime and gets him to admit that he was paid off. But he ends up being killed off in a car bomb while he tries to get away from Tango. They both find Catherine, but Cash finds her first at the club, where she's a dancer and shitty drummer. Though the place is swarming with cops, Catherine gets Cash out of there in disguise and takes him back to her place, where they engage in a sexy massage. Leading the audience and Cash to believe that she is romantically involved with Tango, we soon learn that she is Tango, Catherine Tango, Ray's little sister, and Ray Tango does not approve of the flirtiness between his sister and Cash. Prepared with the evidence they need to clear their names, their first mission is to get rid of Perrette. They meet up with Cash's gizmo guy, Owen, who loans them a brand new urban assault vehicle fully equipped with rockets, guns, and FaceTime. They storm Perrette's compound and blow a bunch of shit up. When they finally get to the main building, they face off against Perrette's main henchman, as well as a martial arts guy who seems to really hate glass shelves, judging by how often he kicks through them. That's when they find Perrette, who has Catherine hostage in a hall of mirrors, which every office has, right? Tango and Cash, both master detectives, figure out which one is the real Perrette and shoot him in the damn head. They escape and are officially back to being heroes, celebrating with a miraculous high five. So Tango is played by Sylvester Stallone, Cash is played by Kurt Russell. We have Jeffrey Lewis, who was in Deep Impact, which we covered 2 episodes ago.
Double Impact.
What did I just say?
Deep Impact.
We did that one like 50 episodes ago.
A while ago, yeah.
Playing like the same level of frenzy.
Oh, as in Double Impact. He does he does the same like exposition when he's like, "You're twin brothers." And he does like the same thing and he's somebody set you up. And again, I wanted it to be William Devane.
Yeah.
Yeah, William Devane would have killed it in this movie.
Okay, Eric, have you seen his like gold commercials?
William Devane?
Yeah.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
I have to send you some. They are off the rails. They are completely insane.
I just love that all of those like aged actors are doing like I think this came up on the Double Impact episode, but like Tom Selleck's reverse mortgage commercials. Like,
Yep.
We should all be so lucky to get to that level of success where like our, last chapter is doing that kind of shit.
Yeah. Oh, please. Yeah, I would kill to do any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and Jack Palance plays Perret. And this is the same year that he did Batman, where he's the like, at least at the beginning, the big bad guy. Mm-hmm. But it's funny. It's a very similar character. He didn't have to work too hard, I guess.
Except one thing I love about Perret in this is he is the king of unnecessary visual metaphor. Like the Hall of Mirrors, the rats, the rats with the maze. I'm like, did he just have this shit laying around, or was he like, I need something constructed for a visual metaphor?
I need a giant screen made up of littler screens behind me.
Yes.
Well, that's just a sign of success.
Cash and Tango.
Ray, Tango. He's done it to us again. If it isn't Tango, it's cash. Tango and cash and Tango. These two cops are driving me crazy. We have to do something about this.
I agree. I would like to handle this myself, Mr. Friend. No, we will handle it.
No. Not that way. I have something else in mind.
So that clip is from the very beginning, right after we meet Tango, who does one of my favorite things in movies, which, Dan, you probably know what I'm talking about. Whenever somebody in a movie references a kind of recently released movie. Oh, and in this case, it's like super meta.
Did you check the first panel?
It's full of gas, sir. We checked the whole truck, asshole. There's nothing in it. And you're out of your neighborhood, big city boy. I want your badge. I want your weapon. I want your ass. Who in the fuck do you think you are?
He thinks he's Rambo.
Rambo is a pussy.
Audience bursts into applause.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And
guffaws aplenty.
But also it's like that sets the stage for like the vibe of the whole movie. He shoots an oil tanker that's filled with cocaine and calls Rambo a pussy.
Yeah, right. I really want to set this up because it is one of the most brilliant, dare I say, introductions to a character. He in the middle of a desert. This lone detective stands down a tanker truck full of gas, and we find out cocaine, and shoots straight up shoots at the windows of the tanker truck, forces them to stop, and they come flying through the fucking windshield of the tanker truck. Yeah. It's just an incredible 3 minutes of filmmaking.
I want every movie to start that way. I have a question though. So he empties the bullets out of his gun and puts different bullets in. Yeah.
Does
anybody know what the deal with that is?
I guess maybe they're just like softer. They're not like steel cased or something, or whatever. I don't know much about ammunition. Surprise, surprise. But maybe they're just like softer bullets because they don't. Maybe
they're actually like special bullets that are filled with actually just like tons of cocaine so that he can prove a point.
So he looks good to his superiors.
Yeah. It's the 80s. Yeah. Anything is possible.
This movie has real big cocaine energy.
Absolutely. I was also... Oh, yeah. So, okay, first of all, Sylvester Stallone, this is during a period in his career where he's mid-yoked. You know, it's like before this, he was like completely yoked. And then there's like this movie. Then he was in like, is it Oscar, the gangster movie? It was like right after this.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot around this time.
Yeah. And then he gets like re-yoked when it comes time for a cliffhanger. Right. Yeah.
I think cliffhanger was the big, he's back.
He does Rocky 4 after this one.
Yeah. He just wears suits for a couple of movies and...
Or 5, I'm sorry, 5.
Rocky 5, yeah.
Well, he did Rocky, that's right. He does Rocky 5, yeah.
Yeah.
That is the immediate next one.
And this is the first of... I mean, I assume this movie flopped, right? It was I know behind the scenes, it went like $20 million over budget. and it was a complete disaster. Like they fired. I know too much about this movie. They fired like 3 different directors or something on it.
Oh yeah. They fired the DP. Barry Sonnenfeld was the original DP, and he
imagine how good this would have looked if it was Barry Sonnenfeld.
He wasn't lighting Stallone properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that this was a total ego trip for Stallone.
Oh yes, Stallone I think is like notorious for he likes working with first time directors because he can just bully them. And just, he's sort of just like directing it himself. And the director of this is like this Russian director, which is like, I think he had some acclaim before this. He didn't do much in America after this.
Huh. He did Runaway Train was his like big one before this.
Yeah.
Like, I think Eric Roberts and Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah. And like John Voight. Yeah. It's a cool movie, but it's similarly crazy.
I do have some Sly Stallone news, by the way. There were reports that he signed up for a membership at the Mar-a-Lago Club and Resort, but he responded very emphatically that it is not true. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, something that seems totally true, I guess is absolutely not
I had
true.
no trouble believing it.
Oh, none at all.
Yeah, I know, but I was like skimming through just before we were recording. I was like skimming through his Instagram, and it's like, it looks like he's been really responsible with like mask wearing and stuff like that. So, good on him.
Okay,
make it, putting forth a positive image.
Yeah. So one thing that came up in the Gabers episode that I wanted to bring up was, like, was your household an Arnold house or a Stallone house? Because that really rang true to me. I think we were an Arnold house because I think my dad just liked him more.
We didn't have any parental influence.
I would say we leaned Arnold.
We leaned Arnold. That's for sure.
I always did too.
I mean, twins because Arnold went family friendly first.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if you don't count Rhinestone, I guess.
Yeah, or Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, which was still a little bit later, but
but I mean, we leaned.
He also just like had
he
had a sense of humor, and like when Stallone was trying to show a sense of humor, it just didn't seem all that true.
No, yeah, exactly. It seemed like he was trying to keep up with Arnold, like going more family friendly. And the reason I wonder if this movie flopped because then like Oscar was a flop.
Yeah.
And Stop or My Mom Will Shoot was definitely a flop. And so he's sort of like in the start of like a little bit of a dip down in his career. But then, cliffhangers after that in that movie.
Cliffhanger's great.
It's so good.
John Lithgow. God, it's so good.
93 he had Cliffhanger and Demolition Man, so that's a 1-2 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's back. Sly is back.
Sly's had a number of, ebbs and flows in his career, because then he kind of, faded away again, did a lot of, whatever, like Eye of the Shark, or like straight to DVD, like him and Eric Roberts or whoever. And then it was like Expendables, or I want to say the fourth Rambo movie, which was
Rambo
is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Is that when John Rambo or just no? Rambo is what's after John Rambo.
Well,
right?
no, Rambo, like Final Blood,
that's the latest.
Was the
one,
most
right?
recent. The other one was going to be called John Rambo, and then they just called it Rambo.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep track.
That one's a big guilty pleasure of mine too.
Yeah,
especially like the last 20 minutes where people are just exploding into like big sacks of blood. It's insane.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It's so over the top.
It's over the top.
And then Expendables is a
over
blast.
The top was
over the top. Over the top.
That was 87?
87, yeah.
Yeah. Over the Top's great. I love Over the Top.
You can't buy a copy of Tango and Cash or Demolition Man without also getting a copy of Over the Top. It's like
they're in a 3-pack.
A 3-pack, double pack. Even if you just think you're just buying the one movie, there's what is this?
Special featurette
Over the Top,
the entire movie Over the Top,
plus a Kenny Loggins music video,
Sammy Hagar music video,
or not? What? No, I'm thinking Meet Me Halfway.
Well, he also
From Over the
there's
Top.
also a Sammy Hagar music video. I guarantee it.
Oh man,
I'm looking it up.
I don't know.
Over the Top, Sammy Hagar video. Winner Takes It All from the movie Over the Top.
Okay, I always think of Meet Me Halfway because it's got that great montage during it, and it's big like ballad. Meet me halfway. It's like, I don't know, awesome. You can imagine it like ends with kind of like the big like Tango and Cash ends with that high five where it's just like, oh, never let go. And
yeah,
I feel like Over the Top ends the same way. I don't know.
So talking about that high five, there's at least one like false start high fives where it's like they're about to, and they're just like, wait a second, no, we hate each other. And so then it's like when they do it, we're supposed to be
such
like,
a rom-com moment.
It is a yeah, I was just about to say it's a rom-com setup. Yeah.
The thing is,
like
this
when
movie,
they're about to hug.
Yeah.
It's like they're celebrating and they're about to hug each other. Like, oh no, we disagree.
Yeah, this movie. I mean, yes, that's also like we can't acknowledge that we're friends, but there's also a lot of like gay panic going on.
Yeah.
In this
like
movie,
when he thinks Cash is going to suck his dick in the shower.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. So when they are first getting to prison, for some reason they have this like giant private, just the two of them shower moment where they walk in and just talk about each other's dicks for about 3 minutes.
Well, they're in this giant shower room, yet they've chosen the two showers next to each other.
We have full butt shots too, which
we certainly do. Yeah.
Appreciate.
Well, we've already had
like
gratuitous boobs. We need,
right. I feel like that's one of the things that this movie is known for, though, is the ass shot of them walking into the showers.
Mm-hmm. Can I make a little bit of a confession? Because you just brought up the gratuitous boob shot. This was the first movie that I'm gonna go a little blue here. I'm sorry. That I unintentionally got a boner to. Because we had this on VHS.
Is this why you wanted to do this episode?
That's why John is like, would Tango and Cash be? I'm like, yes. So
you got stiff right then and there.
Yeah. We had this on VHS, which I think was like taped off of HBO or like Cinemax or something. And my parents were asleep. I had to close my eyes during the back room scene of that insane club. And I hope we get more into that club later because it makes no sense. And so I had to close my eyes. So I knew there was something good going on there. My parents are asleep. I sneak out and I pop that VHS tape in and fast forward to that part. And boy, howdy, I was just like, holy shit. And then something happened, which had never happened to me before, really. I did not complete, guys. But,
that was like, going to be my follow-up question.
I suddenly got like, I was young. So I was
it's
like,
a very short scene.
It is. Yeah, exactly. I was like, what the fuck's happening? And then got freaked out, took it out. And then later...
Wait, what did you take out?
I took the VHS tape out of the VCR, guys. Come on. I did it with my dick, though. I pressed the eject button. And then later, I felt so guilty because I thought Santa Claus wasn't going to come visit me for Christmas. So I told my mom I did it.
Oh, I love it. That's so funny.
And there may have actually been Roadhouse thrown in there too. I may have also thrown in that. It's kind of getting a little blurry in my head, a little mixed up, but those two movies left an
interesting connection
mark.
Between these two movies is that Patrick Swayze was originally cast as Cash and dropped out to do Roadhouse, which bravo, Mr. Swayze.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Because
for
now
a couple
we have
of reasons.
Both. Yes.
Yeah, because we have both. And Kurt Russell is so good in this. And it really it reminds me of how much I love Kurt Russell. And, in the discourse of like action movie stars, I feel like his name isn't brought up enough because we do have people like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Van Damme and whatever. But Kurt Russell's so much fun because he brings like a totally different energy to things.
Yeah.
I know we haven't done Big Trouble in Little China yet, but I'm so excited just to watch him in this era with that hair doing it.
That hair is incredible.
It's amazing.
him and like Mel Gibson. I know we don't really talk about him much these days with good reason, but they had the most incredible feathery hair back then.
Yeah. So right now my hair is like the longest it's ever been. And I'm really tempted, like once I feel safe with it, to not get my hair cut, but to go to somebody to get it styled and just be like, do the cash. Give me the cash.
Yes.
Oh my God. That would look incredible.
Please.
Oh, I would love it.
What
just
a way
to like
to
have it.
come out of quarantine.
Yeah.
Yeah. With your hair
like
feathered.
And it's also like Patrick Swayze had like the same hair, didn't he? In like in that
much.
era.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
go
this
for it.
movie
Please,
had,
for me, I can't. I have no hair.
Surprisingly, this movie is the one that didn't have the throat ripping. It feels like it would. It feels like it would.
The violence, I'll say, isn't as extreme as it should have been, I think, for this movie. It should have gotten like a little bit more over the top. No pun intended.
Over the top. There's big explosions, and there's people getting shot, of course, but yeah, I don't know. Even like at the end with the karate guy or whatever, you would, I don't know, expect something bigger to happen.
Yeah, like an impaling or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little anticlimactic.
It's so disjointed. This movie is so disjointed. So the other thing about this, when I first saw it, I'm sorry if I'm derailing here, was that like, and I was thinking about it during this viewing, I just thought this was a normal movie about cops. You know what I mean? And never watching it for the first time, I had the same experience with like Face Off. It's like, oh yeah, I thought this was a normal movie and not completely insane.
Completely bananas.
Yeah.
Well, so when I put it on the other night, Laura, my wife, for our listeners, she popped down and I was like, oh, do you want to watch this with me? And she's like, sure, I've never seen it. And I was like, before I press play, what do you think it's about? And she was like, okay, it's two guys named Tango and Cash who are cops, and they're trying to stop a bad guy who has something to do with drugs. And I was like, oh yeah, well,
Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's certainly a lot going on otherwise, but her mind was blown. She loved it. And, of course, it has its problems, as pretty much every movie from 1989 would have. But, man, it is just enjoyable.
It is enjoyable. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, it's just a blast.
The scene where we meet Catherine at the beginning, but, like, when we really meet Kiki, as she is known at the Cleopatra Club, where she's doing this like crazy like dance in this like sequin thing, and then like she does this weird like
Sheila
drum
thing.
Yeah, and the drumming is terrible.
It's completely offbeat with like whatever song is happening.
It doesn't make any sense. What a scene!
What
but
is
like
this club?
Our jaws were on the floor. The Cleopatra Club. I don't know, but I want to.
Cleopatra Club. It's not like it's not a strip club. It's
like an 80s. It's like an 80s version
dancing?
of burlesque. I don't know. I really
like
striptease,
but not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
not worth the mental energy trying to figure it out. You're just like okay, plot device, and she uses her wiles to distract the cops.
It's a club that's theme is the feeling of being on cocaine.
Yeah, see, I think that's like, if that were to exist in real life, it would be where businessmen bring their clients to do cocaine.
Yeah, right.
LA's crazy, right, guys? Like,
and then we get more gratuitous boobs.
And more gratuitous boobs.
And gratuitous boobs, thank God.
I was talking earlier about how much I am fascinated by movies that reference other recent movies. I want to play another clip. This is Tango speaking with, I think the captain, with Jeffrey Lewis's character, and mentions another 80s movie.
Your ship's come in. There's a big bus going down at 4942 Front Street.
Great. Is that reliable?
It's very reliable. It's phone tapped.
Fantastic.
What the hell is this? Downtown Clown versus Beverly Hills WAP?
All the news is fit to print.
I don't understand you. You make a shitload of money. You dress like a banker. What are you doing this for?
Action.
Action?
Good old American action.
If you really want to stare death in the eye, you should have gotten married.
Is that a proposal?
So pardon the derogatory term, but Beverly Hills WAP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I was just cringing at WAP.
Yeah.
Which ironically was originally Beverly Hills Cop was originally supposed to be a Sylvester Stallone.
Is that the one that turned into Cobra?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wanted to make a serious movie.
Too much stupid shit.
I know. Like this one, I think one of the reasons the director left was because he wanted it not to be a comedy or something like that. And so it's kind of the opposite of Beverly Hills Cop, where the studio wanted to push it into more of a comedic. And I don't know where Stallone stood and all that, but yeah. God, thank God he left Beverly Hills Cop. That'd be...
Oh my God, we're so much better for how things turned out. Yeah.
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 And then there's also a moment during the trial of Tango and Cash where, and this one I will admit, it's a more obvious movie reference that makes a little bit more sense. It was a little bit more time, but still.
But while you're pulling up that other clip, the last clip you played has one of many things I really enjoy about the script is the lines that were written expressly for the trailer, like when he says good old fashioned American action. I'm like, that's going right into the trailer.
Oh yeah, like they know what they're doing. All right, so this is the one that I'm talking about.
When these two guys show up, I figure the whole thing's gone sour. So I'm gonna go in and clear everything up. When they kill him.
When this is over, we have to pay Jabba the Hutt here a visit.
I'll bring the chainsaw.
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
I'll bring the beer.
I don't understand. I'll bring the chainsaw. I'll bring the beer.
I'll bring the beer. Yeah. Stallone also has to get jokes in about food too.
They're gonna make a night of it, I guess. I don't know.
Is that a thing? Him joking about food?
In this one, he's like, "You're not too good about counting your calories, are you?" Or like, and then he says another thing too. Like, you can tell he's just completely fucking obsessed with his own body, and like, it really seeps through into all of his movies.
I was watching an interview with Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone right before we started. I didn't have a chance to pull any clips or anything, but they were on Arsenio talking about Tango and Cash, and Sylvester Stallone was like pretty fixated on the fact that like he's not as, jacked up as he like normally is. Yeah.
Of course he is. Yeah, because he's usually a fucking beast, but he looks relatively normal. It still looks crazy in a suit. Like he wears a suit for the first half of the movie, and it's just like it looks insane on him. I almost wonder what would happen if you switched the actors and had Kurt Russell. Although Kurt Russell's too much of a like rough and tumble kind of guy, but I don't know that I buy Stallone as like a rich yuppie cop. You know what I mean?
I don't think that he's either of them.
Yeah.
I feel like that was also part of. Sorry, I feel like that was also the kind of like when I see it, I feel like that's part of the joke. Is it's like it's another thing. It's for the trailer. It's like when people see Stallone wearing glasses,
right? Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. Yep. Like casting against type.
Yeah.
Like that thing is, Kurt Russell's versatile where he could believably do both roles. Yeah. And for Stallone, it's just like, oh, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Sylvester Stallone's wearing a button-down shirt.
Yeah.
Not for long.
Well, and also there's like the wink, wink of the moment where Catherine, Terry Hatcher, sneaks Kurt Russell out of the Cleopatra Club because there's all these cops there. So the only way to do it is to dress him up as a sexy lady.
Birdcage totally ripped off Tango and Cash.
That's so true. Yeah. So I'll just play a little clip of this when the reveal happens with the very obvious saxophone music. Oh yeah.
Why is it not the Blue Oyster Bar music?
Hey, Red. Aerobics instructor, huh?
Hey, Bud, get your hands off my property.
Any chance of a three-way?
Bikes on bikes, eh, Captain?
Okay.
Reminding us that the 80s are not over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so interesting because like this movie it's so 80s, like Reagan era. It's very like pro cops, war on drugs. Criminals are disgusting, filthy monsters. Like they go into this prison and there's open flames everywhere.
Yeah,
there's trash being thrown all over the place. And yeah, it's just like criminals are the scum of the earth and they belong in jail.
Aren't you happy you have these super cops protecting you?
Yeah.
One thing that I just
except
don't
for that one
buy,
really horny cop that we just heard there.
One thing that's like that does not ring true, especially in today's climate, is that there's no fucking way cops would turn on each other in this way. You know what I mean? Like they basically, once they're accused of this murder, the entire LAPD turns against them. Like, you scum. It's like, no, in real life it'd be like, you want me to help you cover this up, guy? Like, I'll go on the stand for you if you want.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way these cops would be held accountable.
Blue lives matter.
Yeah,
I was gonna say they didn't have the blue line flag then.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was a lot harder. Yeah, well, yeah, that's one of the notes I have is also you see like when Tango and Cash are reinstated at the end, and it's like front page heroes are back. Tango and Cash are back on the force. It's like. When was the last time, if it has ever happened, that we knew the names of cops from the headlines, not because they were racist pieces of shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know the name of any cops that aren't just like recently in the news for killing people. It's like, and oh god, that may. Oh yeah. Also, when do these? Why are these two cops on the front page of the newspaper? One like
all
above
the
fold,
time.
One, it's like Gabriel Cash does it again. It's like that's nobody ever reports on that stuff.
Oh, you know what? I actually did take a picture of the screen. I got to bring it up of the another article that was on the front page when Tango and Cash are being celebrated at the end, and
awesome.
It's. Children who dress for excess. Today's youngsters have become fixated with fashion. The right look isn't enough. It also has to be expensive. When 15-year-old Michael Thomas left home for school last May, he couldn't have been prouder. On his feet, thanks to his mother's hard work, were a pair of spanking new Air Jordans. Anyway,
wow.
I mostly took the picture because it references somebody named James Martin, who shares a name with a friend of ours.
A friend of ours, yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
So I'm glad that we brought that up because, that's what else is on the front page. Like, this is Los Angeles, and that's the front page of the news.
Yeah, and that is the most like boomer dad like complaint stuff. Like,
yeah,
kids in their expensive clothes.
I'm pretty sure I saw at the beginning that it's not the LA Times that all these newspapers are. It's the Los Angeles Chronicle, which makes me think of Dan, our hometown. How there were the two small town newspapers.
Daily Journal and Cranford Chronicle? Or
there was the Cranford
Westfield
Eagle.
Leader?
No, the Cranford Eagle
the Cranford
and the Cranford
Eagle.
Chronicle.
I thought the Cranford Eagle was came about later.
Well, yeah, I mean, but still, there were two, like, Eric, the town where we grew up, so small. And, like, there were two
competing newspapers.
Competition makes everyone's game better because then it's like, well, I got to get the scoop. I got to scoop the Eagle, you know?
Yeah.
Can't let them get the scoop on what's happening.
Yeah,
you know,
I need to find out about like school budgets before they do.
Yeah.
There was a council meeting last night, so, you know.
Yeah. Rushing to their editor.
I'm curious. I want to look into that. I don't even know if they're both
presses.
Still around. Yeah.
It's like there's our remake of The Paper. We'll just set it at the Cranford Chronicle.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, you just said stop the presses. We're talking about Jack Palance in Batman. This movie, or I should say Batman, which came out this year, was the movie that Sylvester Stallone says kind of ruined the like big muscle bound action movie with the casting of Michael Keaton, allegedly.
Oh, I was gonna say it's funny that you should say that because I was thinking a moment ago how we were talking about like ridiculousness where like Tango and Cash are on the front page of the paper, and I was thinking it was like, well, that's because in the 80s that's who the superheroes were like these super cops played by Stallone and whatever Kurt Russell and Schwarzenegger, where there weren't really like other than the Superman franchise and then in 89 Batman, you didn't really have superhero movies. There weren't, I mean, like that wasn't real. I mean, not really until like 2008 when Marvel, like they were seen as like
Nolan, low rent.
Yeah. So there really wasn't, like there weren't heroes to have on the front page of the newspaper. And maybe I'm influenced because I watched Justice League, so I'm thinking of the world mourning Superman for about 3.5 hours.
I haven't seen the Snyder. I haven't seen any of the cuts of Justice League, to be honest.
Then you're fine.
Yeah, I feel that's how I feel.
You'll be okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say today there just doesn't exist other than like John Wick and maybe that new Nobody movie.
Oh, I can't wait to see Nobody.
A lot of hard R or R-rated action movies. It's all comic book movies, like that are in this kind of mold.
I think that there's a lot of straight to streaming stuff that just doesn't get the attention. What were you gonna say, Dan?
Well, I was going to say, I thought that was what was refreshing about more so the Expendables movies than the more recent Rambo. And I guess like if you want to lump Creed in there, but really like those, I think that was what was refreshing about those was that they were back to that like, hard R action, just like innovative sequences, bad guys who can't hit a damn thing, evil henchmen, which by the way, Brian James as the evil henchman in this is so good.
I don't know.
He's so
he's
ridiculous. Of course, he's ridiculous.
1989, lead henchman. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
His ponytail.
Oh, that red
and
ponytail.
His accent.
Yeah, and the Cockney accent, ridiculous.
Completely insane. Drop me. I love it when he no sells like the being hung off the building, and he's like, "Go ahead,
drop me." I would be so scared if that was happening.
Let's listen. Oh my god, yeah. Let's listen to the bit that comes right after that.
Blowing a man's head off with a fucking hand grenade is a touch much, don't you think?
You got your way, I got mine. I'm kind of glad you didn't want to talk, Rakim. You know that?
Let me just shoot him in the goddamn leg. He'll talk.
I don't want the leg. I want the whole package.
Maybe he doesn't know anything, okay?
I don't really care.
What do you mean you don't care? What the fuck is this? You're a cop.
Like, I was a cop. But because of this dirtbag and his friends, we're on the run. No, it's payback.
That's enough. I mean it.
Is it?
Oh, man, I heard about you.
Did you?
I heard you were a fucking Section 8. I didn't believe all that weird sadistic bullshit I heard you pull, but you are, man. You're for real.
If you don't want to get sticky, get back. Jack. Dun, 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 dun.
You got it, sicko.
He must have known you had a boner, Eric.
You blew it big time, pal. This asshole's
Did
out of control.
Did you have a boner during this scene?
It's
but I'm not
never
going
stopped.
down for this Tango. I mean it. You're on your own. I'm out of here. Don't forget the ride.
Since.
You want my vote for the Psycho Hall of Fame, asshole? You got it.
You really do look like shit in a ponytail. No, I'm sorry. Bye, buddy. Bye, baby. I don't want to hear it.
Perret! The geezer you want, Perret. He's Perret.
Who the hell is Perret?
The bloke with me in prison. He's the governor.
Yeah, where's he now? Where's the governor?
That's it, Ryko Airfield.
Think he's telling the truth?
I don't know, but it's not raining, and he's standing in a puddle.
Disgusting.
You know, Potato Head, you just fell for the oldest routine in the book. Bad cop?
Worst cop.
Oh, almost high five.
The almost high five. Yes. I love the good cop, bad cop there.
Well, yeah, the bad cop, worst cop. There's so much fun. I love it. I love the two of them.
Yeah. They have pretty good chemistry together. It's a shame
really
they didn't do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the time.
Yeah, in that Arsenio clip that's just on YouTube, they talked about like a project that they were maybe going to be working on a few years earlier, but that fell through. And I don't know, but
remake
like
of The Odd Couple.
Yeah. Well, that's what this is. Its own special remake of The Odd Couple. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm glad that things worked out the way they did, because this movie's great. It's so much fun.
We'd be remiss.
It's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, it really is. It'd be so hard to recreate this kind of magic. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Owen, the weapons man, Kurt Russell's weapons guy.
Yeah,
Michael J. Pollard.
Yeah, that's right. People might remember him from Bonnie and Clyde. He's like the third. Okay. Yeah,
I didn't bother looking him up. I know this guy.
Roxanne. I love him in Roxanne.
I had just watched Bonnie and Clyde like a month ago, and I was like, who is this weird dude? He seems so familiar. And it's like, oh yeah, he pops up in these things. And yeah, he's
Scrooged. That's
Scrooged.
He's great in that.
So we find out about his talents at the beginning because Cash has a boot that has like a shotgun in it, like a gun inside of a boot. It's like a weird, I don't know, creation.
It's kind of like a Q James Bond relationship.
Except for he's like off his gourd.
Well, yes.
My favorite invention of his is he has a new, it's like for protection for seniors. It's called the
dog.
Pooch. Yeah. And it's a stuffed dog with a gun in its mouth.
It looks terrible.
It looks so bad. And then it just explodes.
So I have a clip pulled from the introduction of the RV from Hell, which will feature some Owen. So at the end, before they go face off with Perret, they pay a visit to Owen.
They don't notice it's there until he flicks on the one light that wasn't on.
I love it.
Double armored, bulletproof glazing all around. 120 millimeter cannon on the driver's side. Transfer case has torque splitting. It'll seat 60 in 5.5 seconds and pull high 10s in the quarter.
What is that?
That is an RV from Hell. Care to join me?
So it's what?
Oh no, there's another line in that scene when he says, when Kurt Russell goes, "This is a violent work of art." That was another one where I was like, "Oh, that's for the trailer."
Yeah. So Owen has like the gigantic like magnifying glass attachment to like his head, and he's got he just looks insane. He's an insane looking person to begin with, but he just looks even crazier with all this
and he has
stuff
that weird little voice.
Yeah.
It's great.
Great character and like great casting for him.
Is he associated with the LAPD in some way, or is he just like Gabriel Cash's tinkerer friend? It
seems like he is in some way, because he's like, oh no, this is like reserved for something else, and they're just like, oh, we'll bring it back without a scratch on it and stuff. So it seems like he's in some way affiliated with the LAPD.
In that little subplot of him being worried about that RV from Hell is so unnecessary. In that final, like when they're storming the like bad guys' headquarters, you just hear him, or maybe even see a feed of him being like, "Hey, what was that? Hey, Cash, what's that noise?"
Yeah,
guys, you there?
Exactly. It's so funny. I love how weird that is. It's just beautiful.
It's weird because when he unveils it, I'm like, oh, did he make this for them to like raid the bad guys' headquartars? And then when he's like,
oh, I thought someday you would need something to go into a crazy situation.
Have fun storming the castle. Oh, wrong. All right. But because it seems like he's kind of like, oh, this is going to be perfect for you. And I'm like, why were you putting on that pitch? Why were you like, why did you unveil it in that manner if you were just like, oh no, don't use it. Don't touch it.
Guys, I was just showing this to you.
Yeah.
This perfect thing that you need.
But anyway, this dog. Check this out.
The pooch. Take the pooch
the
with
pooch.
you. Take the pooch. Apparently Jack Palance, that just reminded me, and like maybe it was Arsenio, agreed to do the movie because he really wanted to do scenes with Stallone, but then all the script got changed so much that he didn't even have a scene with Stallone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's an interesting piece of information. I'm like, I'm imagining Jack Palance, but when do I get to do a scene with Stallone? I can't do a good Jack Palance.
I want to do a two-hander with Stallone.
But instead, he gets Billy Crystal just a few years later.
Oh, man.
Hey, he got to do scenes with James Hong in this. And
That's true. James Hong is always great. I'm always happy to see his name in the credits. Yeah.
Big Trouble, Little China.
It is funny in very 80s how he's basically, if there's an Asian gang in every 80s movie, there's your guy. He's gonna
there's
be
your
there.
Guy. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that clip wise I wanted to play before we move on to our kind of thought experiment. What's up, Dan?
Do you have Jeffrey Lewis giving the exposition?
Oh, yeah. So this is the scene after Tango and Cash meet back up with Catherine. You're talking about another one? Oh,
No. That's what I mean. But sorry, as you're summarizing it, I also want to point out it's a little ridiculous. How is it that Cash and Catherine get to that point where she's massaging him on the couch and no one has explained to him that she's Tango's sister?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, wouldn't that have been like as they're on the way out the club? Like, yeah, I'm Ray's sister. Like, I can help you out. You can trust me.
Yeah.
And even I'll go one further. Even just clarifying, like, no, we weren't having sex. I mean, I guess Cash kind of wants them to think they're having sex because it's fucking with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That massage scene is something else.
I also want to point out something pretty interesting. So the different like captains that each Tango and Cash have. So Tango's captain is Jeffrey Lewis, whose daughter is Juliette Lewis, and Cash's captain is the father of like David Arquette and
Eddie. Oh, no. His captain is Eddie Bunk. Louis Arquette is the FBI guy.
That's right. He's the FBI guy.
Setup. Yeah. No, actually, it was Cash's captain is Eddie Bunker, who people would probably know most from Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He's the one in the beginning who talks about like Madonna, and he's like, I was into her stuff until True Blue, and then I turned out.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's listen to this crazy Jeffrey Lewis scene. The Double Impact episode. Please listen to it because we talk a lot about him, and I know that I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, but I never paid attention to him as much as I have been the past few weeks since we've been
Lawnmower Man is the only.
I haven't seen Lawnmower Man in so long, but he just brings this crazy energy, and I love it.
Can you believe it? She got the brains and the looks.
Tell me it's none of my
How do you
business.
figure it?
What are brothers for?
I don't.
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Smoke?
Well, I'll tell you anyway. To protect against guys like him.
All
Look
right.
it up in the Big Brother him.
All right, that's it.
Pervert protection.
You're not going to run us in, are you?
No, but I can only keep the department off your backs for another 24 hours. The feds are on the case.
Feds are on the
I
case.
suggest you slip into something a little more butch, and you get rid of Daffy Duck there and try to clear your names.
You're twin brothers.
Yeah. And he's got this terrible wig on.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Maybe that's why he
Slip
went
into something a little more butch.
Yeah.
Man.
It's like you're not here to make wisecracks. You're here to give us information that we need to understand the movie.
Yeah.
So what's crazy is he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, like lounging back in this chair, and it's almost like he forgot to tell them, like, oh yeah, that's right, you have 24 hours to get to this place.
Well, because otherwise it would have been like you have 24 hours and 2 minutes. He needed to start them at the 24-hour mark.
Wait for the minute hand, the second hand to go around one more time.
Yeah.
I do love that line. It's like, starting when? 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. You've just been sitting here lounging back, smoking a cigarette.
I was having a cigarette.
What, am I going to interrupt my break?
And Cash took it.
He's like, I'm on my government mandated break. But yeah, so anyway, we talked about how this movie was kind of lightning in a bottle and how their chemistry was so good, but like, Dan, should you bring this back nowadays, what might you do?
Oh man, I mean, I would love to see it live on in like midnight showings. It's not a long movie. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's it's got a great pace, and I would just love to, I don't know, turn this into like a, it does have a cult following. So I think that's kind of where, once we can do such things as go to midnight showings of movies at movie theaters, like I would love to go see this at a drive-in. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of like, if I had to do anything with it, so the two routes that you could go is, so Sylvester Stallone, a couple of years ago was doing interviews saying he wanted to do Tango and Cash too. And, that he and Kurt Russell just needed to kind of connect. And Kurt Russell was just like, yeah, I heard he said that, whatever. And
he's like, I still have a viable career,
So it's like, why not? So at one point, Cash mentions alimony payments, which leads me to believe that perhaps he has a child. And so why not have, like, this is what Sylvester Stallone does nowadays. So why not just find a way to bring Stallone back and team him up with whoever is Cash's child?
Wyatt Russell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kate Hudson. I don't know. I mean, I know that's not biologically, yeah.
But Wyatt Russell, who's, white hot right now with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. I was not making the connection there for a moment, but yes. So, I mean, you could do that. You could do a straight up remake, but I feel like you're not going to capture, like, there's something about this movie. I mean, even the fact that it was released, like at the end of 1989. So it was probably the last action movie of the 80s. I mean, of course, other action movies were probably already made and were in post-production at that point, but like, it's your last action release of the 80s. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time seeing a remake that would make it worth it. Like, I don't think you can bring back what works about this, because it's not necessarily about the story or anything that you could transfer into. I mean, like, it's about that those 80s set, like the zip lining down the wires and the, like those action sequences, the electrocutions and all that. And
a lot of electrocutions in this.
Yeah. A lot of electrocutions. Yeah. And it's like, and we don't have action heroes in that vein anymore. And I don't think we need to. I think I would really just rather see it kind of just given more respect. I think I hate looking at Rotten Tomatoes and seeing like a 30% score, and I get it. It's not a movie made for critics, but like, I would like to see some revisionist history being done on Tango and Cash, and maybe give it the proper respect that it deserves.
Okay. So I was thinking something a little different. We are, this episode is coming out in April 2021. We are on in a positive look, momentum for seeing the end of pandemic times. Not that it's super soon, but it's going to be happening. And, there's a lot of talk about how, this is going to be the new Roaring 20s. Once everything is kind of back to normal, everyone's going to be so excited to go out and do things and take advantage of what's out there a little bit more. And I think that there's going to be a resurgence in destination restaurants. So that's why I think that there should be a Tango and Cash's theme, maybe not like this movie theme, but just an 80s theme restaurants with that crazy ass burlesque Kiki dancer type of bullshit with the fans and the streamers and the sequins and everything. And I think that they just need to open up a Cleopatra club called Tango and Cash's.
Wait, when you go to this like theme restaurant, are there like actors working there? There's like a shootout during every seating. And
I don't think that they can do that. I don't think it's such a good idea, Dan.
No, not these days. You don't think? I mean,
I don't think that's such a good idea. I don't think that's such a great idea, Dan.
No,
I think it's a great idea.
No, you don't think so? No. I mean, so basically, could they just take Planet Hollywood and kind of revamp it?
All those empty Planet Hollywoods sitting around. I don't know. Get creative. But the thing is, like, who doesn't love nostalgia? I feel like it's the same group of people who love going out and like doing funky things. I mean, Eric, you live in LA. There's certainly a lot of those like theme pop-up, like Saved by the Bell, the Austin Powers and all those types of things. And it's just like a Tango and Cash one would be so weird that it almost could work really well. It would be
so weird. that would be really a dark horse candidate for that sort of treatment.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's the thing is just like, I don't think that I'd want to see a sequel because I don't want to see present day Stallone, taking part in anything like this. I think that, he kind of overstayed his welcome a little bit in the Creed stuff, but as we talked about, I think on our last episode, he's not going to be in the next one. So that's kind of good. And, I could see Kurt Russell doing something. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and he was in Stallone is in the new Suicide Squad, but like Kurt Russell, Hateful Eight. That's right. They were both in great. Yeah. Oh, that's right. They were both in the second Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not together. No shared screen time, but
that is unfortunate. That's a good point. I forgot that stuff was in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just like, hey,
rub
Tango.
biceps.
Yeah.
Bump Uglies, as he says it.
The Hunka Chunka from Demolition Man.
Oh. Demolition Man's so good.
Yeah,
love that
movie. It really is.
It's wonderful.
So, Eric, not to put you on the spot, but did you happen to think of any way that this might be brought back?
So a lot of my thoughts have already been echoed here, especially Dan. You really hit the nail on the head with like there's just something so lightning in a bottle about this movie, and I think it's troubled production and all of the various directors and going $20 million over budget and reshoots. Like they called in like the special like editor whose job is to fix broken movies to make it work.
Oh no!
So I think a lot of that all just contributes to this insane movie that's so hard. It'd be so hard to replicate. And the premise itself isn't like worthy, I don't think, of a reboot, but I think I would, if I were, gun to my head, you got to make something Tango and Cash related. I maybe would like to see Stallone and Russell back together, probably not as the two main characters, but they're at least like retired cops. They come out of retirement for one final caper they have to do together. And then I was thinking like, who would make like a good, if you were to reboot it, who would be a good like cast pairing? And sort of the best I could come up with, because I don't think there are a lot of like super charismatic action stars in the way that there were in the 80s. And that's probably just my own prejudice seeping through. But I know the two guys who are funny and look good and are friends, and that chemistry I think would be important, is Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds as Tango and Cash. That might be fun.
I think they would enjoy doing that.
They would at least enjoy doing that, which I think would maybe come across on the screen. I'm a big proponent of actors just having a good time on set.
A great time.
Who would you put in which role?
Question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I know where I went, but
I think it'd be the Ryan Reynolds and the Cash and Gyllenhaal and the Tango.
Yeah.
Would probably be. I don't know. I could see him either way though. And then I was like, well, maybe we don't go white guy with them, and who would it be? And I'm not sure. Maybe like a Damon Wayans Jr. or something. I think he could have fun with that kind of
on
role.
This podcast, we want to put Oscar Isaac in just about everything.
Oh, hell yeah, Oscar Isaac.
Definitely.
I love Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac could be the villain. He could be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about charismatic action stars, the first person that comes to my mind is Chris Hemsworth, who, you know, he's certainly got the like yoked body, but also is super funny and just enjoyable to watch. But no, I think that you're totally right. They seem to enjoy each other very much. I think they're also buds with Hugh Jackman. I think that the three of them are like...
Oh, Hugh Jackman would be
he'd be a great
bad
villain
guy too.
Yeah,
he would be. Yeah. So, but I guess at the end of the day, it's like we probably just shouldn't do anything with this movie because
that's
it's
what we
so hard.
usually realize when we do this podcast.
Yeah. Wait, what about Travolta? What if you brought Travolta in to do it like Jack Palance style, but yet Travolta?
That could be crazy enough to work.
Travolta.
Like,
I mean, if
him as like
just thinking about it is like exhausting.
I don't know, his turn in the OJ miniseries was so fucking good that like yeah, sign me up. I'll see Travolta do that.
That OJ miniseries is magnificent.
It's so good.
It covers all
juice. That's my David Schwimmer.
it like the entire spectrum of acting. Like from gloriously scenery chewing to like, oh my God.
The only person I feel like that really works is Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson. But no, that's
as
the thing.
Marsha Clark.
Like, there's
she
all
was
this, like,
great as Marsha Clark.
There's like Nathan Lane as F. Lee Bailey, and all this. Like,
that was fun. Yeah. That was
all
fun.
These like they're fun performances, and then like Sarah Paulson is like, oh my God, she's amazing.
I don't know who was Dersh. I don't remember.
Dershowitz? Wait,
the guy
Schwimmer
from
was
California.
Kardashian.
Yeah, Juice.
Who was
Juice?
I'll look it up. I don't want to put anybody on the spot.
Oh shit!
And Cuba Gooding Jr. as God, he looks nothing like O.J.
No,
Simpson.
he really looks nothing like O.J. Simpson at all. But like,
so
it
weird.
kind of works. Like, especially now that
Evan Handler.
Yes, Evan Handler.
Yes.
Right.
The bald guy. Yeah.
So weird. That was so weird. We were all just like, you know, there was like that OJ craze because there was the documentary that came out like right at the same time. Man, fun times.
I told you about my OJ Simpson pogs that I had, right? From the 90s.
I don't know.
I had OJ Simpson trial pogs.
I was just looking through some old Instagram posts because I was trying to see if I had. I was surprised I only had like one photo that I'd taken at the ArcLight. You know, the news just came out that it's to be closed. Yeah, I know. And I saw a picture of my old like Pog board with like skulls on it, and it's like, who was I? What was I doing? So you had OJ Pogs.
OJ Pogs, yeah, they came in a sheet, like, and you could punch them out. And I think I did punch them out. I should have saved them. Man, they'd probably be worth nothing, but to me, they'd be worth everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Just to show people.
Yeah.
Just to post on social media. It's OJ Pogs.
Yeah.
As a discussion piece for dinner parties. It's right in the middle of my
podcasts.
table. Yeah, podcasts. I bring it up every podcast.
Yeah. Is there anything anybody else wants to mention about Tango and Cash before we let everyone know what we're doing on the next episode?
There's one line that really bugged me, which is Clint Howard is Stallone's
Slinky.
The Slinky. Yeah. There's one line where I think either he or Cash calls him Cousin It.
Yeah.
That's
when he's
right.
clearly a Fester type.
Stallone throws that in, and I bet that no one was like ballsy enough to let him know, like, hey, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, wrong one. He's not Harry. He's the opposite
Pugsley.
of.
I would go Pugsley.
Yeah,
on
Pugsley.
That one.
Yeah, totally.
I wouldn't have gone any of them.
No.
No Addams Family? Eddie Munster?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or just nothing. Or just maybe nothing. Just
Nothing.
Clint Howard. I'm
Howard.
just going to leave you and Clint Howard here alone.
Clint Howard over here. This Clint Howard looking motherfucker.
Like,
what a treat that guy is.
Why bother? Like, why bother? Why not?
Yeah, why punch
Clint
down?
Howard. Yeah, no one's going to question it.
We'll talk about what we're going to do in the next episode, but Eric, do you want to tell anybody about, I mean, we talked about Kill Streak, but if you want to let everyone know, I guess if you listen to podcasts, what you're doing, you know how to find it.
Yeah, check out Kill Streak, please. Pass it on to people who are horror movie fans. Also, a TV show that I worked on that I'm really proud of is now on Netflix. It's called Last Chance U Basketball.
Yeah.
It is a documentary series about a basketball team in East Los Angeles. It's very, very good, if I may say so myself, and I highly recommend you check it out.
I was just talking about it with a couple of my friends the other day who
awesome.
I don't know if they've seen, they have watched the basketball season, and I got to be like, oh yeah, my buddy was a producer on that, doing that whole thing. But no, it is exciting because, and actually, pretty much right before pandemic, I was out in LA and I met up with you at the post-production office and, happened to see a couple shots of the show, and you were even telling me then, like, this is going to be something really, really great. And I know that seems to be getting a lot of good attention on Netflix, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. I'm not, it's not my show, but I think it's good.
Well, Dan, should we let everyone know what we're going to be doing on the next episode?
On the next episode of Ruined Childhoods, we will be tackling the 1992 cult comedy, dare I say classic, Death Becomes Her, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Goldie Hawn.
I didn't even realize the connection that we were doing.
We'll have Goldie Hawn on the next episode, as well as Bruce Willis, who fits into that 80s action.
I thought you were saying that she was going to be a guest. I was like,
she's a guest.
Fuck Eric Gosselin.
Sorry, Eric.
We got Goldie Hawn on the next one.
No apology necessary.
We've got Goldie Hawn, yeah. No, absolutely. I couldn't get her for the first Wives Club episode, but...
Yeah.
No, I'm excited. We're going to talk about Death Becomes Her, which, Academy Award winner. Death Becomes Her for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be fun.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this. I can't believe it's taken 112 episodes before we had you on.
Yeah, man, it is hard to like schedule these things. I know it. We usually record ours last minute.
And we don't typically have guests. Like, I think we're up to about 7 at this point.
Yeah,
but
same with us. Yeah,
you and the proud.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. You and I started doing the podcast thing like over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
actually, probably about 10 years ago with Stranger Fan Fiction, which was a colossal mistake. Don't look it up. But Hey Teens was great. We had a lot of fun doing that, and I certainly miss those old days. And it's crazy to think now that we can do this over the internet with each other in different places. And had we had that 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had to come to my shitty apartments. And
I was thinking about that. Like, I don't think much is going to change after the pandemic as far as recording these things for myself. Because Mike is moving back to Los Angeles, but maybe we'll record in person. But like, I don't know, this is pretty easy.
I forgot that he was out of town.
Yeah. Yeah, moved right before pandemic, moved to Texas.
Damn,
and then he's going to come back right towards the end, hopefully, knock on wood, the end of pandemic.
Yeah. Well, cool. Everyone listen to Kill Streak. And Eric, so what we do at the end of our episodes is we conjure our Dolph Lundgren in Masters of the Universe and wish each other a good journey. So Dan, as you venture off into the RV from hell, Dan and Eric, I wish you both good journeys.
Good journey.
Good journey.